Who is Mel Owen? All you need to know as Tamzin Outhwaite makes big EastEnders return. EastEnders fans are gearing up for a big blast from the past as Tamzin Outhwaite is returning to her old stomping ground after 15 years away. But for those who are newer viewers, we have summarised Mel Healy/Owen's story thus far. She certainly had a dramatic time in Walford, with 2 big weddings, an arson attack, a very memorable Christmas one-night stand and a hostage horror. Best mate to Lisa Fowler, and with turbulent relationships with major characters such as Phil Mitchell, Ian Beale and the late Steve Owen, there's a lot to catch up on. Mel arrived in Walford after travelling the Greek islands, where her business had gone bust and she had escaped an abusive relationship. She was shocked to find that her supposedly dead brother, Vicar Alex, lived nearby. She reunited with him and her dad Jeff. Mel started working for Ian and the pair quickly developed a relationship. Mel initially struggled to bond with Ian's kids but eventually made headway. They soon became engaged but Mel got cold feet as the day got closer and decided to call it off, but Ian discovered her intentions and lied that Lucy was desperately ill with cancer. The millennium wedding dawned but Mel discovered a letter giving Lucy the all-clear and confronted Ian, walking out on him as the bell tolled in the year 2000. Mel had short-lived flings with Billy Mitchell and Dan Sullivan but was most drawn into the orbit of Steve Owen, whom she fell for. Mel had slept with Lisa Fowler's partner Phil Mitchell on Christmas Day in a drunken mistake, something which Steve later discovered. Steve forgave Mel, but when Phil was shot on their wedding day, Steve became #1 suspect, with even Mel doubting him. With Phil having discovered that it was Lisa who shot him, he instructed Steve to help him frame Dan for the crime. Dan was jailed but upon being released, he kidnapped Mel in revenge and demanded a ransom from a panicked Steve. While Dan's hostage, Mel discovered Steve's shady side from him. When Phil saved Mel, she walked out on Steve. In revenge against her husband, she torched his club E20 but the pair would later reunite. They planned to emigrate with Lisa, Mark and Louise, but their plans fell apart when Mark pulled out as Phil determined to stop Lisa taking Louise. A desperate Steve absconded with Louise but a car chase with Phil in pursuit led to his death and Mel was crushed. After Steve died, truths about him came to light, including his affair with Sam Mitchell and the fact he had sold the house and business without telling Mel. Worse was to come when Mel realized that paperwork she had absent-mindedly signed now linked her to Steve's drug smuggling operations and she was arrested. When Phil discovered that Mel was pregnant, he bailed her out of prison, but when she then learned that Lisa had shot Phil, not Steve, she raised a glass to her late husband and departed Walford with Phil's cash. Lisa and Louise would later join Mel in Portugal.